Against Harper Mitchell's chest, her father's military identification tag felt icy as 3 male students surrounded her in Jefferson High's dining area. Before an explosive device in Kandahar took his life, her father's final present came with a vow to never back down from confrontation. Through 14 different schools over 5 years and numerous encounters with tormentors, she'd honored that vow. This moment, however, carried a different weight. Through her shirt, Harper's fingers traced the weathered metal, a grounding ritual she performed whenever reality seemed to tilt. 200 students surrounding her acted as though they weren't observing, while Tyler Brennan, standing at 6'3" with an air of privilege and athletic prowess, approached with the deliberate movements of someone unaccustomed to facing repercussions. Tyler remarked that new female students had developed a staring habit, his tone carrying the quality of someone accustomed to making others recoil. Jake Morrison, positioned behind him, manipulated a utility blade between his digits as if this were typical weekday conduct. Marcus Chen's knuckle cracking completed their intimidating formation. Harper's attention, however, remained on her computer display, where a data table revealed SAT results that defied mathematical logic. Students struggling with elementary algebra suddenly achieved flawless mathematics sections. Writing assessment scores increased by 400 points instantaneously. The corruption pattern was blatantly obvious, yet somehow invisible to those in positions of authority. Tyler's palm struck her table surface forcefully, causing her water container to bounce, while he addressed the military dependent. The dining area's ambient sound faded to blank noise. Harper identified this instant, the fraction of a second preceding violence when everything crystallized into absolute clarity. She'd mastered reading it in Afghanistan's dust-filled atmosphere, observing her father's mission preparations. You could invariably detect when someone approached a boundary they couldn't retreat from. Before exploring this incredible account that sent the entire school district into turmoil, leave a comment indicating your viewing location. Also share if you've witnessed bullying backfire spectacularly on the aggressor. Messages from global viewers about comparable incidents have been arriving. Honestly, certain of your accounts surpass this one in intensity. Click that subscribe option since we post authentic school conflicts weekly. Believe me, you'll want to witness what occurred when law enforcement examined the surveillance recordings. Harper responded quietly that she'd heard him, simultaneously saving her document to 3 separate cloud platforms with rapid keystrokes. Her mother had instilled this practice. Secure the proof initially. She simply didn't consider it worthy of acknowledgement. Jake's laughter emerged high-pitched and anxious. Marcus positioned himself behind her seat. The surrounding students suddenly discovered their mobile devices fascinating. Though Harper noticed several recording, excellent, witnesses would prove significant subsequently. Tyler leaned until his exhalation reached her ear. Stating this represented her problem. She failed to comprehend how operations functioned here. His father controlled the institution. He governed the student body and nobody. His hand descended on her computer display. Nobody initiated investigations into matters that didn't concern them. Harper's digits located her father's identification tag again. He'd worn it through 3 deployments, survived marksman fire and roadside explosives, only to perish rescuing a school filled with children from a suicide attacker. She pondered his perspective on these males who performed danger in their secure suburban environment. Harper stated loudly enough for the recording devices to capture that business became interesting when you're marketing SAT solutions for $2,000 each, utilizing school technology to alter grades, and involving no fewer than 3 educators in your little operation. That type becomes everyone's concern. The dining area achieved cemetery-like silence. Tyler's facial expression shifted through multiple hues before settling on a mottled purple shade. He informed her she had zero comprehension of what she'd just initiated. Harper invited enlightenment. Tyler was already straightening, that calculated expression returning. He glanced at the surveillance equipment. The ones Harper had already observed were conveniently directed away from this section. His expression could have spoiled dairy products. He stated conversationally that their new associate required instruction in maintaining silence. Harper rose slowly, automatic responses from countless training sessions activating. Her father had begun teaching her when she reached 7 years, immediately following her initial school suspension for retaliating against a bully. You never initiate the confrontation, he'd stated, wrapping her small hands. But you invariably conclude it. Harper questioned 3 against 1, slipping her computer into her bag with practiced efficiency, observing it seemed appropriate for their capability level. Marcus reached for her shoulder. Harper had anticipated it. Tormentors invariably attempted control holds initially. She permitted the connection, then utilized his force to verify something else on her mental checklist. The wrist device on her arm, military specification, her father's final deployment equipment, vibrated once. Recording initiated, audio and video transmitting directly to her mother's protected server. Tyler explained what would occur, stepping into her personal space. She would erase whatever she believed she'd discovered. She would forget she'd observed anything, and she would learn that females who didn't understand their position received reminders of it. Harper nearly laughed regarding her position. She elaborated on positions, holding her mother while she screamed at a folded flag represented her position. 17 bases across 14 countries because home ceased, meaning anything after her father's death represented her position. Learning combat because grief appeared as weakness to predators like him represented her position. She sensed Marcus's hold intensifying. Jake had ceased manipulating the utility blade, maintaining it steadily now. The intelligent students were already retreating toward exits. Harper continued, projecting her voice to Carrie, asking if he wanted to know her discoveries. Transaction documentation, cryptocurrency accounts traced to student identifications. Jake operating an entire hidden network operation from the technology laboratory. That information technology instructor Morrison, yes, Jake, she knew he was his uncle, accepting a portion to overlook it. And Tyler wasn't even clever about it, utilizing his father's administrator access to modify grades. That wasn't merely academic dishonesty. That was federal crime domain when you crossed state boundaries selling to out-of-state children. Tyler's control fractured like a deteriorated guitar string. He ordered them to silence her. Marcus jerked her backward. Harper permitted herself to fall, utilizing the momentum to drive her elbow into his solar plexus. He folded over, gasping. She rolled sideways as Jake lunged with the utility blade, the blade whistling past her ear. She remarked carefully that constituted assault with a dangerous weapon, adding 5 to 10 years. Jake snarled and charged again, slashing wildly. Harper ducked inside his range, trapped his wrist, and twisted until the utility blade clattered across linoleum. A straightforward Muay Thai knee to his ribs sent him sprawling. Tyler charged like a bull, entirely muscle and zero tactics. Harper pivoted, using his mass against him, sending him crashing into a table. Lunch trays exploded everywhere. Someone screamed for them to stop, announcing a teacher's approach. But no educator appeared. They never materialized when Tyler was involved. Marcus had recovered sufficiently to grab Harper from behind, restraining her arms. He announced he had her. Tyler stood slowly, wiping blood from his nose, his expression having progressed beyond rage into something colder. Tyler informed her of her problem. She thought herself untouchable because her mother worked for the FBI, but she wasn't present. And after they finished, she'd be too humiliated to inform anyone what transpired. He nodded to Jake, who'd retrieved his utility blade, instructing him to proceed. Harper felt the blade contact her back, catch the fabric of her skirt. She could have broken free. Marcus's hold was amateur level. But sometimes you had to permit tormentors to commit to their errors. She stated calmly that everyone was recording this, questioning if he wanted footage of assaulting a federal agent's daughter. Tyler laughed, claiming they were recording her receiving what she deserved, then ordered the cut. The blade separated fabric with a soft tearing sound. Harper heard gasps, nervous giggles, the electronic click of photographs being taken. Her skirt fell away in pieces. Tyler sneered that she wasn't so formidable now, just another desperate female attempting to... He stopped, stared. Under the destroyed skirt, Harper wore compression shorts. Military issue, the type female soldiers wore under uniforms in combat zones. Harper stated her father taught her to always be prepared. Then she moved. The headbutt caught Marcus in the nose, a wet crunch that sprayed blood across her shoulder. As he staggered back, she grabbed his arm, pivoted, and threw him judo-style into Jake. They collapsed in a tangle of limbs. Tyler rushed her again. This time Harper didn't dodge. She planted her feet, chambered her leg, and unleashed a spinning heel kick that would have made her Muay Thai instructor proud. Her heel connected with Tyler's jaw in a perfect arc of physics and timing. The crack echoed through the dining area like a gunshot. Tyler struck the ground hard, eyes rolling back. He didn't rise. Harper stood in the sudden silence, surrounded by torn fabric and groaning males. Blood spotted her compression shorts, not hers. Her father's identification tag had slipped free during the confrontation, catching dining area light like a small beacon. She questioned quietly if anyone else wanted to challenge her. 200 mobile devices stayed raised, recording everything, but nobody moved. Harper picked up her bag, stepped over Tyler's unconscious form, and walked to an empty table. She pulled out her computer and resumed typing, fingers steady on the keys. Around her, chaos slowly reasserted itself. People rushing to help the fallen males, voices rising in shock and excitement. The distant wail of approaching sirens. Someone whispered in awe that she'd actually done it. She'd taken down Tyler Brennan. But Harper wasn't thinking about Tyler anymore. She was thinking about patterns and evidence, about corruption that went deeper than 3 tormentors with delusions of power. She was thinking about her father's voice on their last phone call. Bad people count on good people staying quiet, baby girl. Don't ever be quiet. Her wrist device buzzed. A text from her mother. Saw the live stream. Don't move. FBI resources incoming. Proud of you. Harper smiled for the first time since arriving at Jefferson High. She'd kept her promise after all. Behind her, someone started slow clapping. Then another joined. Soon the entire dining area erupted in applause, not for the violence, but for something else. For someone finally standing up to the untouchable Tyler Brennan, for evidence of corruption being dragged into daylight, for a female who refused to be silenced, even when they literally tried to strip away her dignity. Harper didn't acknowledge the applause. Heroes in movies always did, but real life was messier. 3 males were bleeding on the floor. Her skirt lay in shreds. The adrenaline crash would hit soon, and she'd probably cry in the bathroom later. But right now, she had work to do. She pulled up the encrypted documents she'd been gathering for 2 weeks. Ever since she'd noticed the statistical anomalies in Jefferson High's published test scores, her mother had taught her to spot patterns, income levels that didn't match spending, test scores that defied probability, behavior that suggested secrets worth protecting with violence. A voice said, "Excuse me." Harper looked up. A female stood nearby, clutching textbooks like armor, Asian features, designer clothes, nervous energy that screamed witness. Harper stated it wasn't a question. "You're Lily Chen." She'd done her research. Valedictorian until last semester, then your grade point average mysteriously dropped right after you refused to help Tyler with his calculus homework. Lily's eyes widened, asking how she knew. Harper responded with pattern recognition. The same thing happened to 6 other students who wouldn't cooperate. Tyler's not just operating a cheating ring. He's systematically destroying anyone who threatens it. Lily whispered she had proof, screenshots, recordings she'd been collecting for months, but she was too scared. Harper observed that she wasn't scared now. Lily looked at the 3 males being loaded onto stretchers, at the torn skirt on the floor, at Harper typing calmly amid the chaos. She confirmed she wasn't anymore. Harper said good, slid over making room, and instructed her to send everything to this email that routes directly to the FBI's Academic Fraud Division. Lily asked if that was legal. Harper responded that her mother runs the division, so yes. Lily sat down, fingers flying across her phone. Around them, the dining area buzzed with energy. Harper caught fragments of conversation about the kick, Tyler's father's anticipated reaction, and whether she really had evidence. They had no idea. The cheating ring was just the surface. Harper had uncovered connections to standardized test companies, admissions consultants, even scholarship committees. Tyler's operation was a single thread in a web that stretched across the state. Coach Williams stood over her, the only faculty member who'd shown up, his expression unreadable. He stated she'd need to come with him. Harper asked if she was being arrested. Coach Williams snorted, explaining that she'd just taken down 3 attackers in clear self-defense, exposed the biggest academic scandal in school history, and somehow managed to keep her composure while they shredded her clothes. He wasn't arresting her. He was offering her a job teaching self-defense to the other females, since they needed it in this place. Harper stated she'd think about it. Coach Williams studied her for a long moment, remarking she wasn't what he expected when they said they were getting another military dependent. He'd expected someone broken, angry, looking for trouble. Instead, they got someone who only fights when cornered. That's rare. Harper's hand found her identification tag again, recalling her father's words. The best warriors are the ones who hate fighting the most. They're the only ones who know when it's really necessary. Coach Williams acknowledged that indicated a smart man, asking if he was Marine. Harper responded, Navy SEAL. Coach Williams nodded like that explained everything. Maybe it did. He stated the offer stands and told her to think about it. He walked away, leaving Harper and Lily to their work. More students were approaching now, emboldened by Tyler's defeat. Each one had a story, grades changed without permission, threats for refusing to cheat, money extorted for silence. Harper documented everything, building a case that would make any prosecutor weep with joy. But her mind kept drifting to that moment when the blade cut through her skirt. The calculation in Tyler's eyes, the casual cruelty of males who'd never faced real consequences. She thought about her father, about the last video call before he died. He'd been tired, dusty, but smiling, mentioning they'd been taking fire all week, but the school's still standing and kids are still learning. That's what matters. She'd asked why he did it, why risk everything for strangers. He'd responded that someone has to, that evil counts on good people being too tired or scared to fight back, and told her to never be that person. 6 weeks later, he was dead, saved 43 children and 6 teachers, when the Taliban bomber had been targeting the girls' school specifically as punishment for the crime of wanting education. Harper blinked back to the present. The dining area was almost empty now, just her, Lily, and a handful of students still sending evidence. Her computer showed 67 files uploaded and counting, enough to bury Tyler's operation and everyone connected to it. Her phone buzzed with a text from her mother, 20 minutes out. Full forensic team, you okay? Harper looked at the torn skirt, the blood drops on linoleum, the utility blade someone had kicked under a table. She thought about Tyler's unconscious face and felt nothing. No satisfaction, no regret. Just tired certainty that this was far from over. She typed back that she was okay, then added that her father would be proud. The response came immediately. He always was. Harper smiled, surprised by the sudden tightness in her throat. She'd spent 5 years building armor around her father's memory, but sometimes the grief still found cracks to seep through. Lily said quietly that they'll come after her. Tyler's father, the school board, everyone involved in this. They have too much to lose. Harper acknowledged she knew. And when Lily asked if she was scared, Harper thought about fear, about what it meant when you'd already lost the most important person in your world, about her mother's lessons in evidence and patterns, about her father's gift of knowing when to fight and how to win. She stated finally that her father faced down suicide bombers and her mother takes down corrupt politicians, questioning if Lily thought she'd be scared of a high school bully with a utility blade and daddy issues. Lily laughed, surprised and genuine, acknowledging when put that way. Harper continued that fear's just information. It tells you what matters, what's at stake, but you can't let it make decisions for you. She stood, shouldering her bag. The adrenaline was finally fading, leaving her aware of every developing bruise. Tomorrow would hurt. The day after would be worse. But pain was temporary. Justice, when done right, lasted forever. Lily asked where she was going. Harper responded the principal's office. She needed to file an official report before Tyler's father tries to spin this, then asked if Lily wanted backup. Harper considered the offer. Lily Chen, former valedictorian, Tyler's victim, now potential ally. She agreed that would be good. They walked together through empty hallways, past trophy cases and motivational posters that seemed laughably naive now. Jefferson High prided itself on excellence, integrity, character. But Harper had learned long ago that institutions were only as good as the people willing to fight for them. Lily asked as they reached the administrative wing where she learned that kick. Harper responded, Thailand. Her mother was stationed at the embassy for 6 months, and she found a Muay Thai gym that didn't care she was 12 and angry at the world. Lily asked if it helped with the anger. Harper touched her father's identification tag one more time, responding no, but it taught her to aim it better. They pushed through the office doors to find chaos, phones ringing, staff scrambling, Principal Morrison pacing behind his desk like a caged animal. He spotted Harper and his face went through several interesting color changes. He stated, voice strained, that he supposed she was here about the incident. Harper corrected him. Incidents, plural. The assault was just the latest. She was here about the systematic grade manipulation, the money laundering through student accounts, the faculty involvement in academic fraud, and his son's use of administrative passwords to facilitate all of it. Morrison's face went from red to white, stammering about his son. Harper clarified that Tyler's not his nephew. Jake Morrison, though. She was curious why he gave Tyler his admin credentials. Family favor, or was he getting a cut too, Morrison? Started saying she couldn't prove it, but Harper pulled out her computer, set it on his desk, and opened a file. Tyler's voice filled the room, recorded crystal clear on her wrist device. My dad runs this school. I run the students, and nobody starts digging into business that doesn't concern them. Harper asked mildly if he still thought she couldn't prove it. Morrison collapsed into his chair. Around the office, staff members had stopped pretending to work, openly staring at the drama unfolding. Morrison said quietly that she had no idea what she'd done. The people involved in this weren't just going to roll over. They'll destroy her. Harper responded they could try, then pulled up another file explaining that first they'd have to explain why Senator Bradley's son jumped from a C average to straight A's overnight, why Judge Patterson's daughter's SAT scores don't match her practice tests, why Coach Davidson's recruiting violations connect directly to his grade changes. Each name hit Morrison like a physical blow. Harper had done her homework, traced every connection, followed every dollar. The conspiracy wasn't just deep, it was systemic. Harper continued that the FBI would arrive in 10 minutes. He could wait for them or run. Either way, it was over. Morrison's hand moved toward his desk drawer. Harper tensed, but he only pulled out a bottle of antacids, his hands shaking as he fumbled with the cap. He said almost to himself that 5 years of building this school's reputation, test scores up, college admissions up, donations up. Everyone was happy. Lily said quietly that everyone except the kids who earned their grades honestly was happy. Everyone except them. Morrison's gaze shifted to her, seeming to actually see her for the first time. He started apologizing about her scholarship, saying that wasn't supposed to happen. Lily stated it did happen, and he let it. The silence stretched until Harper's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen, aerial footage of black SUVs surrounding the school. Her mother didn't mess around when her daughter was involved. Harper announced they were here, offering a last chance to do the right thing. Morrison laughed bitterly, questioning the right thing, and stating she had no idea how this world works, how things really get done. He claimed her father might have been a hero, but heroes don't survive in places like this. Harper felt the words hit exactly where Morrison intended. But instead of anger, she felt only cold certainty. She stated her father died saving kids who just wanted to learn, while he betrayed kids who trusted him to teach them, and told him not to dare compare himself to her father. The office doors burst open. FBI agents in tactical gear swept in, followed by Harper's mother in her crisp suit and contained fury. Margaret Mitchell looked like a suburban soccer mom until you saw her eyes. Then you understood why criminals confessed just to make her stop staring at them. Margaret said, voice carefully neutral, asking if Harper was hurt. Harper responded she was fine. Margaret stated good, then turned to Morrison, identifying herself as Special Agent Mitchell with the FBI's white-collar crime division, explaining, they had a warrant to search these premises and seize all electronic devices, then beginning to read him his rights. Harper tuned out the familiar words, exhaustion finally catching up. She felt Lily's hand on her shoulder, grounding her. Lily whispered that she did it. She actually did it. But Harper wasn't celebrating. She was thinking about tomorrow when the news broke, about the other schools running similar schemes, about the kids who'd already lost scholarships, opportunities, faith in the system itself, one fight down, a war still to win. Her father would have understood. Some battles you fought because you could win, others you fought because someone had to stand up and say enough. Today, in a high school dining area, with her skirt in shreds, and 3 tormentors on the ground, Harper Mitchell had said enough. And for the first time since her father's funeral, that felt like keeping her promise. The video had accumulated 18 million views by morning. Harper watched the number climb from her kitchen table, a cup of cold coffee forgotten in her hands. Someone had edited the dining area footage into a brutal highlight reel, her spinning kick frozen at the moment of impact, Tyler's body crumpling in slow motion, the torn skirt fluttering like a surrender flag she'd refused to wave. Headlines. Screamed various versions, viral sensation, Harper Mitchell destroys entitled Bullies, and FBI agent's daughter exposes massive SAT cheating ring. The comments ranged from marriage proposals to death threats with the usual internet chaos in between. Her mother said, sliding a plate of eggs across the table, that she needed to eat something. Harper responded she wasn't hungry. Margaret. Mitchell's voice carried the same tone she used in interrogation rooms, insisting she eat anyway because they had a long day ahead. Harper forced down a few bites, her body still running on yesterday's adrenaline fumes. Through the window, she could see news vans lining their quiet street like predators waiting for prey. Her mother said, scrolling through her tablet, that they arrested 43 people overnight, 3 teachers, 2 administrators, and 38 students across 6 schools. Tyler's operation was bigger than even Harper realized. Harper asked if he was talking from his hospital bed. Margaret confirmed yes, with a broken jaw and severe concussion, his lawyers claiming excessive force. Harper almost laughed, observing, 3 against 1 with a weapon is excessive, while 1 kick to stop an assault is self-defense. Her mother acknowledged she knew that, as did Harper, but his father had hired the best defense team money could buy. Margaret's expression hardened, explaining they were going to come after Harper, paint her as a violent vigilante who set this whole thing up. Harper stated to let them try. Her phone buzzed, another 1,000 notifications she'd never read, but one name caught her eye, Coach Williams. His text read that the offer still stands, with more females asking about self-defense every hour, and they needed her. Harper stared at the message, thinking about her father's last letter describing Afghan girls who walked miles through hostile territory just to attend school, how they faced death threats for wanting to read, how teaching them basic self-defense had given them more than physical skills, it had given them hope. She said suddenly that she wanted to do it, the self-defense classes. Margaret looked up from her tablet, asking if she was sure, noting things were going to get ugly before they get better, and it might be good to lay low. Harper questioned, since when do Mitchells lay low? Her mother smiled, the real one, not the FBI face, acknowledging fair point and saying her father would be proud. Harper stated she knew, but she wasn't doing it for him anymore. She was doing it for them, for all the Lily Chens who've been silenced, for the females who think their only option is to submit or suffer. Her mother asked when she got so wise. Harper responded somewhere between the skirt shredding and the spinning kick. They both laughed, surprising themselves. It felt strange finding humor in trauma, but Harper had learned that sometimes laughter was the only sane response to an insane world. Her phone rang, unknown number, but something made her answer. The voice was young, scared. "This is Emma Bradley, Senator Bradley's daughter. I need to talk to you about the cheating ring, about what they made me do." Harper grabbed a pen, responding she was listening. For the next hour, she took call after call, students from Jefferson High and beyond, emboldened by her stand, ready to share their stories. Each one painted the same picture, a system so corrupt it had become normal, where honesty was punished and cheating rewarded. By noon, Harper had enough evidence to fuel a dozen more arrests. She forwarded everything to her mother's team, then stood and stretched muscles that screamed in protest. Her mother asked where she was going. Harper responded school. Margaret stated she didn't have to. Harper insisted yes, she did. If she didn't show up, they win. They prove that violence works, that intimidation succeeds. She wouldn't give them that. Margaret studied her daughter, 17 years old but carrying herself like a soldier, and told her to take the Suburban with bulletproof glass. Harper started to protest, but her mother insisted to humor her. The drive to Jefferson High felt like crossing into enemy territory. News vans followed her bulletproof Suburban. Students lined the walkways, some cheering, others glaring. Harper parked in her usual spot, took a deep breath, and stepped into chaos. Reporters shouted questions. How does it feel to be a hero? Did you plan the whole thing? What's your response to Tyler's lawsuit? She pushed through the crowd, ignoring the shouted questions and reaching hands. Inside, the hallways felt different, charged with possibility and danger in equal measure. Principal Morrison's office was empty, sealed with FBI tape. In his place sat Dr. Patricia Wells, the district's emergency administrator, who looked up as Harper entered and said she was hoping they could talk about the future, inviting her to sit. Harper sat, wary. In her experience, administrators who smiled that much were planning something. Dr. Wells began by saying she'd reviewed the footage and read the reports, describing what happened yesterday as unfortunate. Harper's voice could have frosted windows. Questioning unfortunate. 3 students assaulted her with a weapon. That's not unfortunate, that's criminal. Dr. Wells shuffled papers awkwardly, explaining the district was prepared to offer a settlement, transfer to any school she chose, full scholarship, sealed records. All she had to do was sign this non-disclosure agreement, and Harper interrupted with a firm no, apologizing but refusing. No settlement, no transfer, no silence. She stood, stating she was staying here, testifying in every trial and starting that self-defense program with Coach Williams. Dr. Wells urged her to be reasonable, noting the attention, the lawsuits, the media circus. It's not good for anyone. Harper countered, asking what's not good for anyone. A system that protects predators and punishes victims. She was done being reasonable. Reasonable got them here. She walked out, leaving Dr. Wells stuttering behind her. In the hallway, she nearly collided with someone. Mason, Tyler's friend from the dining area. He flinched, stepped back, quickly saying he wasn't part of it. The cheating thing, he swears. Harper studied him, observing he knew, though. Mason acknowledged everyone knew, but Tyler's Tyler. You don't cross him. Harper stated she did. Mason laughed nervously, commenting that Kick was insane and asking where she learned, then stopped himself, saying never mind. He explained he wanted to say what she did was brave. Stupid maybe, but brave. Harper echoed her father's words that brave and stupid often look alike. Mason shifted his weight, explaining some of them were talking, the guys who aren't complete jerks, and they want to help with the self-defense thing, like be practice partners or whatever, to show that not all of them are like Tyler. Harper considered this, instructing him to talk to Coach Williams, and if he approves, she'll consider it. She walked away, processing this unexpected development. Maybe change was possible after all. The dining area felt like a shrine to yesterday's violence. Someone had cleaned the blood, but Harper could still see the stains in her mind. She bought a bottle of water, found her usual table, and pulled out her computer. Lily Chen stood nearby, clutching a lunch tray, stating Harper came back. Behind her, a dozen other females waited nervously. Harper invited them to sit, all of them. They crowded around, eyes bright with questions and hope. Harper recognized some from her classes, others from the hallways. All carried that particular tension of prey animals in a predator's world. One female asked if it was true she was teaching self-defense. Harper confirmed starting Monday. Coach Williams has the gym reserved after school. Another asked eagerly if she'd teach them the kick, the one that dropped Tyler. Harper shook her head, explaining she'd teach them to avoid fighting, to de-escalate, to escape. Violence is the last resort, not the first. Lily pointed out that Harper fought. Harper explained because they gave her no choice. There's a difference between can and should. She pulled up a document on her computer, recalling her father's words. The most dangerous person in any room is the one who knows how to fight, but chooses not to. That's what she'd teach them. Choice. The females exchanged glances. This wasn't the revenge fantasy some had imagined. One asked about Tyler when he comes back. Harper stated he won't be coming back, expelled pending criminal charges. But there will always be other Tylers, other predators. That's why they learn to protect themselves and each other. Lily questioned each other. Harper explained, safe sisters. That's what they'd call it. Not just self-defense, but a network. They watch out for each other, share information, make sure no one faces bullies alone. The energy at the table shifted, became something electric. Harper felt it, the moment when victims decided to stop being victims. Lily said immediately she was in. Another female added me too, then another. Soon all 12 were nodding, voices overlapping with excitement and plans. Harper let them talk, her attention caught by movement across the dining area. A woman in expensive heels and a designer suit had entered, scanning the room. When she spotted Harper, her expression hardened. Harper murmured, "Incoming." The woman strode over, every click of her heels a declaration of war. Harper recognized her from newspaper photos. Patricia Brennan, Tyler's mother, district attorney, political aspirant, and currently furious parent. Patricia stated she wanted to talk to her. The females around Harper tensed. She touched Lily's hand, telling them to stay calm, then asked how Tyler was. Patricia's mask slipped, showing raw emotion beneath, telling her not to pretend she cares about her son. She broke his jaw, gave him a concussion. He may never play basketball again. Harper said evenly he assaulted her with a weapon. She defended herself. Patricia accused her of setting him up, calling it entrapment, claiming her lawyers would prove it. Harper pulled out her phone, found a saved video, and Tyler's voice filled the space between them with his threatening words. Patricia flinched. Harper continued that her son targeted her because she discovered his criminal enterprise. He chose violence, he faced consequences. That's not entrapment, that's justice. Patricia laughed bitterly, questioning justice and accusing Harper of destroying his future over some test scores, noting kids make mistakes. Harper interrupted, stating 43 arrests, 6 schools, hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's not a mistake, that's organized crime. Patricia stated he's 17. Harper responded so is she, but she's not running a criminal enterprise, not destroying other kids' futures for profit, and not hiding behind her parents when she gets caught. Patricia's hand twitched like she wanted to slap Harper, but she was too smart for that. Assault charges wouldn't help her son's case. She stated instead this isn't over, asking if Harper thought she'd won, warning she'd made enemies she can't imagine, people with real power. Harper responded good. She was getting bored with small-time bullies. Patricia left in a cloud of expensive perfume and rage. The dining area exploded in whispers. Lily said quietly that she's right. The Brennans have connections everywhere, judges, politicians, police. Harper returned to her computer, instructing to send her everyone who's willing to testify. They'd build this thing so solid that no amount of connections can break it. The next weeks blurred together. Death threats arrived daily. Harper's mother assigned an FBI detail to watch their house. The media circus intensified. Harper declined every interview, letting her actions speak louder than any words could. But in the gym after school, something beautiful was growing. The first Safe Sisters meeting drew 20 females, the second 50. By the third week, they'd outgrown the gym and moved to the auditorium. Harper taught them her father's lessons: awareness before aggression, escape before engagement, unity before isolation. She explained while demonstrating a basic escape from a wrist grab that the goal isn't to become fighters, it's to become survivors. To know you have options, to believe you deserve safety. Mason and 5 other males had joined as practice partners, carefully vetted by Coach Williams. They wore thick padding and followed strict rules. No unauthorized contact, immediate response to stop, respect at all times. Mason admitted during a water break this was weird. Being the bad guy in these scenarios makes you think about how scary they must seem normally. Harper stated that's the point. Awareness goes both ways.